Okay, so welcome back. Um, we now want to create these two pages, the vote page and the results page. Quite easy to do that because now we have a template here. So we can just copy this, copy, new, paste, save, and then we save this as vote.php. Then you can also create new, paste, save, and you can call this results.php, just like that. And now if we refresh this, if we go to vote, and then we have it. If we have results, then we have results.php. So let's now work on the vote.php page. So this one here, we want to enter some code here. Now, I just opened our original template to see what we can be able to utilize. So what I want, number one, is we have this on the top to just give the position, So we have this. I had already copied the code for that earlier. It was somewhere. Oh, British. Somewhere here. Yeah, these are breadcrumb. These are. So you just want to copy that. Then you come to vote here. And then we paste it. Okay, good. So we just want this to be, for example, we start with the president position. And then here, in this paragraph, we just want to say vote for your preferred presidential candidate. Just like that. Then we also want to change this icon from the home icon. So save it. And then we can come to vote. Then we refresh. Good. So that's exactly how I wanted it to appear. So we just change the icon to new file there. President, vote for your preferred presidential candidate. Okay, the next bit. Excuse me. Sorry about that. Okay, the next bit will be to print out the presidential candidates down here. And from our original template, I want us to use this because I think it gives me really what I want. So I want us to pick this row, the entire row there. Of course, after we work with one, we're going to delete these others, and then we're going to print it using a loop. So I just want this because I want, for example, the name of the candidate to appear here. We're going to change this photo so that you have the photo of the candidate occupying this whole space. The photo of the candidate here. Then I'll remove this. Then I'll use this. I'll also use this, as you're going to see. And where we have the stars here, we're going to have a radio button for selecting that particular candidate. So that's how I want it to look like. So I thought this will be most appropriate. So let's just go to that page, index.html. It's here. And then we can search for Princess Diamond to find that. Find Princess. Good. It's here. Okay, so we just want to see where it begins from. I guess it's here. So we're just trying to study this. Okay, so it goes all the way up to down here. Okay, so I can just copy it. Where was it starting from? I can just copy it. 1134 all the way to 1263. So 1134. 11. I yeah. Yeah, am I really sure? Okay. No. I think. Oh, I think I lost it. Let me just find it again. Sorry about that. Princess Diamond. Okay, here. Up 1134. This one to 1263. So let me just copy it to 1263. This one. Okay, so copy. Then I want to paste it on bot, just below this, so that we can be able to edit it. Okay, so paste it. I'll just save my work, go back to our template, refresh. Okay, so now we have this. So I just want to edit this. I just want to edit this, just one of it, just this one, to get what we want. Then we're going to delete these other ones. Okay. So let's scroll. Let me check that. For the indentation, it's good when it's correctly done. Okay. So we have the row there, then we have the div. So it's this div, this one, div class call lg3. That one is the one that holds everything. So in fact, at this point, we can even delete the other divs. We can delete up to there. Then we also delete this one up to here. Okay. So that we just have one. We just want one. Control S to save. Refresh. Okay, so now I have that. I can just concentrate on that one. Okay, so here I want this to read the position. So president, for example. And through trial and error, I noticed that if I change it to H1, for example, you see it's this one. Okay, let me just undo so that it's just H2. Okay, so I want that to be president, and then I want this to be the name. This now, I want it to be the name of the person, just that. Then what else? Then let me save, refresh. So I have president there, I have Kelvin Kariuki, and then I want to remove this, and that is here, this one here, the shopping and the FA hat. So I just want to remove the entire of that div that is enclosing that product section, and I'll save and refresh. So now I don't have it. The next thing is these one here, Princess Diamond, which is what is here. I just want to change this to the name of the candidate again, but this time maybe I do the full name. I can refresh and see how that looks like. Okay, it looks like that. And then we have the stars here, the stars. So instead of the star, I want to have a radio button here. So I'm just going to delete this. Then instead of that, I have input type radio. For the name, we have president. Then for president, then for what else do we need? We need media ID, president, then you can have value. The value is going to be the candidate ID. So we're just gonna write candidate ID for now. When we do that in PHP, we're gonna change it. Okay, then I'll just save, then refresh. Okay, so I have it here. It's quite small right now. The next thing I want to do is to change this photo to the candidate's photo. So I already have a photo that I've uploaded. So I have the image here. So I have a folder called img, then inside it I have a folder called candidate, then I have a picture called careers.jpg, like that. So just gonna save this and refresh. Okay, that photo, oh, I actually renamed it to one. Refresh. So now I have that. You can see that I'm no longer able to see this, the position. So just through trial and error, I was just trying around how to change that. So I tried to change this to H1 and save it, and then I refresh. So I have it come down here, and it actually pushes also the name. So I liked it there. So the only other thing I'm going to do, I just want to push this name down here a little bit down. I'm going to do that through a break. Not a very nice way of doing it, but I'm just going to use it anyway. So, okay, so we have this here. Then the president, I can also push the president one bit down, again by using BR element. Refresh. Okay, then mic, I want to change my radio button here a little bit. It's quite small, so I want to make it bigger. And also when I hover above it, I want the cursor to change to a pointer instead of just remaining as the arrow, like the way you're seeing it right now. So again, I'm going to do some bad thing here. So inline CSS, I'm just gonna say I want the width to change to 30 pixels, semicolon. Then I want the height to be also 30 pixels, semicolon. Then I want the cursor to be a pointer. So the default cursor is now going to change to a pointer. So save, refresh. Okay, so now it's a little bit bigger. And you can see when I take the cursor above it, it changes to a pointer, and I can check it. And that's how it's going to look like when I check it. So generally, this is the outlook that I want, and I think I've achieved it. So I can just copy and paste this code to see if I have several presidential candidates, how is it going to look like? So I just want to copy from is it from here? No, it's from here. It's from here. From here. So I just want to do Control D, Control D, Control D, Control D, Control D. Okay, I don't know how many candidates those are, but I can just refresh. Okay, so I can do Control D again, save it. So you can see that we have we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 candidates running for the presidential seat. If I check on one, if I check on the other, so that's the beauty of a radio button, because if they have the same name, you check on one, all the others are deselected. It's a good one for this particular application. Okay, so now we have another problem. You can see that our footer is moving along. It's actually destructive, you can see. So how do we make it stick to the bottom? So for that, again, I have to go to the footer here. maybe try out some CSS. We had position as absolute, so we have to change this to relative. So relative means relative means it should flow with the other content in the page, so that if it's at the bottom, then it should remain at the bottom, and it will occupy some space. Therefore, it can't float above. It can't float above other elements like it's doing right now. So let me see if I saved this and I refresh. Okay, so if I refresh, now you can see that it's at the bottom, and that's what we wanted to achieve. So it's now scrolling with the content there. So that's what we wanted to achieve. Okay, so I think the next thing, now that we've seen that we have what we want, is to do some PHP. So let me just delete. Let me see. Okay. Okay, so let me just delete the whole of that. Then I save, then I refresh. Just want to remain with the one that I had earlier. Okay. Okay. that footer, I don't like how it's appearing there. Let me try margin top. Maybe some 20 pixels. Okay. Refresh. Okay. We're going to do 50 pixels. Just want to push it down a little bit so that it doesn't appear to be so close to our content here. That's better. Okay. So we can go ahead and come back here. Okay, so we now want to automate the whole of this. In terms of, we want this name, we want the candidates to be picked from the database. Let me check. From the database, how many presidential candidates do we have? Candidates, position ID. I think we have two. I think we have two candidates running for the president, because that is the position ID #1 for president. Maybe we can add more, so that maybe we have 3 or even 4. So we're going to add more test data, and I challenge you to do exactly that. But for now, we just want to pick details from the candidates table here, and print them out here. So we're going to go back to the Vi. Yeah, the Vi page. The Vi page here, we used some code here that we can still use on this particular page. So we just want to copy a few things that we can be able to use here, so that we don't write everything from scratch. So let me just bring it closer. Okay, so we just want to do the form. So just copy it, then here, and the vote. I'm wondering where I should place it. Should be here. Let me just place it here, the form. So the form is method post, and we want to call this form vote precedence. Vote precedent form. So that's the ID, and we want to close that form. Let me see, this div starts from there. Okay, so we just want to close the form here. close home. Okay, then we go back to vi. So the next thing we want to do is to do the query. We want to do the query. So let me just copy this PHP code. So copy in here. Let me see, where can I place it? Just here above the form. So I'll just place it here. I can take this back, shift tab takes it back, tab alone takes it forward. Okay, so okay, so let's just have a look at this. Do we need to do another database connection? I'm not sure whether the DB is going to work. The database connection that we included in the header is going to work. It should work, but when we were doing the vi form, it refused. I don't know why, but it should work really. So let's just try it out. So we shouldn't have this here. Let me just comment it. Let me just comment it for now. Okay, so we want to retrieve the data from the database. So select star from, so the table we want to select from is this one. Is this one here. It's called candidates. So we'll select star from candidate. Candidate where position ID is equals to 1. So we just want the position underscore ID is equals to 1. So we just want to pick presidential candidates. Then we also want to pick the election, which particular election. So we have 2 elections, but we just want to pick those ones who are running for this election. So we're also going to select the candidate ID. Yeah, so we're also going to say here in this and election underscore ID is equals to 1. So we just want to pick candidates who are running for the presidential and that. So let's see. So that's the SQL statement. Then we execute the query using the DB Connect and SQL. We get the results. Then election, we can call these candidates or presidents. SQL fetch. Then we can say for each presidents as for each presidents as press, something like that. So now this will now give us let me just okay, let me just take this down, maybe there. Okay, so now this will give us what we want here is to pick the user ID so that we can print out the details of the person. So we want to pick that user ID. So we just want to create candidate ID, something like that. Actually the user ID, let's just do user ID. So we just want to say press like that. And then here we do user underscore ID like that. We just want to take the user ID. Then once we take this user ID, we are going to retrieve the data for this particular user. We are going to retrieve the data for this particular user from the user table. So we have the user table. We just want to get their first name and other names from the user table. So here we can do user SQL. So we can do a select statement here. So let me end that line. Then we can do select from user. Is it called user? Yeah, user. And then we want to say where ID, this one, ID, where ID, sorry, small ID is equals to user underscore ID, like that. So we just want to get that data from the user table, and then here we can say user results is equals to, so we can do the MySQLi query. Then we do db connect, then user underscore SQL statement, the SQL statement. We just want to execute it. Once we've executed it, we can now get the user details. User details is equals to MySQLi fetch underscore all, like that. And then here we are going to give it the user results, comma, MySQL sock. We just want to fetch the array as underscore sock, like that. Okay, so once we have this, now, we can be able, I think, to get the we can be able, for example, to get the first name. I hope this will work. User underscore details, like that. We can get the first name for this user. I think the field is called first name. I can confirm first name, then other names. So we can do Control D. Other names. Okay. Okay, so I think that's the only thing we need to get for the user from this template. It's actually the position only and the name, just that. So once we have that, now let me delete the whole of this. So now we just want this for each to be able to print all the candidates, and those candidates should be printed inside this particular div. So I just want to close that for each after this div down here, like that. So that's where it should be. That's where it should be. Good. I think it's good enough. Let me just take that there. Okay, so should be able to loop around those two. Okay, so the other thing now we need is to print, for example, here, the name. So we just want to do here php echo. So we want to echo first name dot a space dot other names, just like that, and semicolon. So we need to print the same. I'll just copy that and paste it here. We also need to print the name of that particular candidate here at this position. Then what else do we need? I think it's just that. So let's save and refresh to see whether it's going to retrieve the precedent. So we are going to have an error. Did I refresh? Okay. So we have a bunch of errors, but at least it looped twice. As you can see here, we were able to loop twice, but we have a few errors which we can sort here. A use of undefined constant, my SQL sock. Let's see, on which line? 52, my SQL. Oh, it's supposed to be my SQL I. Okay, let me save that. Refresh. Okay, undefined index, first name, undefined index, other names. Okay. MySQL fetch all. Where is the header here? Let me just check how we retrieved the details of a single person on the header. We actually didn't. Where did we? On which page did we retrieve the details of a person? On the login. Let's start from users where SQLi fetch a sock. Okay, I think we can use this function, MySQL fetch a sock, MySQL underscore fetch a sock. Okay, that should work. Okay, so let's come to votes here. Instead of MySQLi fetch all, we just use MySQLi here actually, because we just want to fetch for one person. So fetch a sock, this one. Okay, so you can just delete this, and now it should work. Okay, so save it, refresh. Good. So now we have the two candidates, Kelvin and Mary, who are vying for the presidential position. Maybe we can log out. Then we can have someone else that has not vied. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Let me see candidates. So we have two candidates. Number 3, user ID number 3 has also vied for position 2. Okay, so user. So we can log in, for example, with Sarah or Simon. Both of them can vie for the president seat. So just copy that email, then I'll paste it. Enter the password. 1, 2, 3, 4 is what we've been using so far. What happened to my login page? It was working. Undefined index, bbcon, on line 6. Okay, Let me just try and sort that out. I don't know where that is coming from. It has been working up to this evening. I'm just wondering what the problem is. Line 6. DB connect. dbcon. My functions. There's something I changed. Here on my functions, I changed something. Undo. So I was using this. I didn't know I was using this there. So I actually removed it. But I think instead of having this here, let me just cut it, save it, and then I have it here. dbcon, because I've used dbcon somewhere. What about this dbconnect? dbconnect. Hi. A little bit confused. My function. These one. So I must have that one there. Okay. Okay. So actually, I was using this dbcon here. Okay, for in this particular function that is used for sanitizing. I can just leave it there. Doesn't cost much. Okay. Login. So I think it undo. I think it should work. Refresh. Okay, so now it worked. I've been taken to the dashboard. So I want Sarah to vie for the president's seat. Let's see whether this is going to work. That's the only active election. President, register. Ooh. Call to undefined function, sanitize. Okay, so on the header, have I included my functions.php? Yes, required my functions.php. So how sorry, save it. Okay, online. Call to undefined function. Of course, that is on why. On line number 16. Okay, so of course I'm calling this function, and this function I already included it on the header. I'm just wondering why it's not working, because it's here. The function is here, and clearly on the header I've included that function. What have I mistyped? Is it my functions, or is it supposed to be my function? It's supposed to be working really. Oh no. Okay. Require anything on the head. Why? Okay, maybe I can sort that out later. For the sake of time, let's not sanitize this data and see if it's going to work. So let me just save it, then come back and refresh, see whether we can register Sarah as a candidate. Ooh, defined variable session. Right? No, it's even getting worse. And that's what I told you, that sometimes when you're changing, when you're using that particular, when you're changing the code to to use the require and the include, sometimes you run into troubles. But once you have it, then you'll not experience any problems. So all these problems I'm getting just because of using the require, just having the header somewhere else. No. How do I sort this out? Undefined variable session 20. What am I gonna do? Wow. I get it. I'm putting the header below here. So I think what I need to do is to put the header up there. So let me just cut it, then put the header up here. Then the PHP can be below the header. I think that will sort out the whole issue. I think that's the problem. Because that's why we are trying to call sanitize, yet it's below there. So when it's up here, it can be executed. So let it just be there. Let the header be there. I think that should sort out the issue. So let me just, instead of refreshing, I click here to start afresh, to reload the entire page. Okay, position, precedent, register. Okay, good. So this Sarah now has been able to register, for the presidential position. So if we go to vote, we should have Sarah. So we also wanted who else? Maybe this one, Joe, to also vie. Let's choose Wafula to also vie for the president. So copy. Let me just log out. Paste. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, then you can come to vie, register, and try to register again. You've already registered for a position. Okay, then we can go to vote. And now we have Jane or Fuller. So ladies and gentlemen, that is exactly what I wanted. So so far we almost halfway how we want it to be. So you can do the same thing for the other positions, but what I can do here at this point is to include the submit button, so that after they select a particular candidate, maybe they can vote just for this candidate. That's one way for this position. That's one way of doing it. Otherwise, we can put all the positions, then they can vote for all of them at once. With one submit button. They select all of them, then they vote for one. How best will this be? Let me see. How many other candidates do we have? We have a candidate for the vice president, just one, which is number 3. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 6. So I think we can register number 5, so that you see that we can register candidate user number 5. This one, Johi, to also vie for the VP. Copy. So I'm going to log out, then I can paste, then 1, 2, 3, 4, then vice president, register. Okay, so that guy now is also is also a candidate. So let's just do the same thing, the exact same thing for the vice president. So it's quite easy. That is quite easy. So we can just say, yeah, we can do a HTML comment and say president. Then now I can copy the whole of this. I think it's the whole of that. Yes, and copy the whole of that. Copy, paste. Then you can have this as vice president. Register to vice. Wait, look. Oh, sorry. I think I'm changing the wrong. I'm changing the wrong page. Sorry. Sorry about that. Sorry about that. Okay. So we were supposed to change the votes. The vote page. Okay. So we can see here that this is the president. So this is the president, like that. And the president goes up to where? President goes up to here. We can copy that. Just want to confirm. Yeah, that's okay. Okay, so we can go up to there. Then I can paste that and change this to vice president. Change this to vice. I hope that's how we called it in the database for the position. So I'm just doing this manually, but we are supposed to be retrieving the position even from the table, but I'm just doing it manually, which is not the recommended way of doing it. Otherwise, we are supposed to retrieve even the position from the database. Anyway, let's move on and do this vice president for the form there. For the ID, candidate where position ID is equals to 2. So the position ID is supposed to be 2 there. We can leave all the others to be as it is there. That's okay. And change this to vice president. So just that and we are done. So now we save this and we come here and the vote. We should get vice president, and we should get John Doe and Simon and Johi, who have also vied for the vice president position. Okay, so I just wanted to show you this. Something else. Where is it? For the button, we're supposed to change it to vice president. Oh, this one. Yeah. You see, the name right now is president, so it's gonna act as if it's one with this. Oh, how come different? Because they have the same name actually. So because it's a different form. It's a different form actually. So we started another form element. So that's why that has happened. But we can just change this to vice president. This one vice president, and then this can be the candidate ID. And we didn't actually implement the candidate ID. Let me see. We didn't implement the candidate ID there. It's important because that is what you need to pick up. Let me just save it for now and refresh. So it's working for the vice president, also working for the president. Okay. we didn't do the candidate ID, which I think is very important. So here we are supposed to echo the candidate ID. Yeah, candidate ID. Did we pick the candidate ID at any point? Did we select from the candidates? Yes, we did. Okay, we didn't pick the candidate ID, so we can just pick it. So here, candidates. So the first ID here is the candidate ID. So this is the candidate ID, this one. So we need to pick it so that you can know it's what you're going to use in the voting table to find out whose vote is this. So candidate ID. So you can just do candidate underscore ID is equals to press user underscore ID, like that. So once we have that, we can come so of course we're also going to copy this here, vice president, here. Okay, then we can come here on the radio button, so that different candidates will have different candidate IDs, and that's what we're going to pick up. We're just going to use PHP for that. So just gonna enter some PHP here, then we do echo candidate ID. Echo candidate ID, just like that. We can copy this, come down here, and also do candidate ID, echo candidate ID, like that. Then we can save it. So if we refresh, if we inspect this element, where is inspect? So if we get the radio button, you see the value of this first radio is 1. For the second one, if we expand this, you see it's for this one. If we expand this, expand it again, where do we expand again? Expand this again. Hey, where is that radio button? Okay, here. You can see here, the value is 2. The value is 2 for the second candidate there. If we go here, for Sarah Atieno here, the value is 4. The value is 4. So if we go to the database, you can see 4 is for user ID number 3. And user ID number 3, we go to number 3. Number 3 is not Sarah. Oh, it was supposed to be 4. Sorry. Yeah, it's actually 4, not Sarah. So Sarah is 4. So that's the value there. So 4 is actually Sarah. It's the candidate. 4. Oh, I'm doing the right thing, really. Just a moment, please. Sarah Atieno. Value is 4. That's the candidate ID. We got it from this table, 4. And for the user ID is 3. Here the user 3 is John. How come? I don't get it. Alright. Let's see. For the first one, it's okay. The value is 1. The first one can really give us. Let's find out this one. The second one, Mary Achen. So the candidate ID is 2. The candidate ID is 2. Let's find out. Candidates ID we don't even have a candidate ID. Oh, I understand. I understand. I understand. Oh, the reason as to why we are having that problem is because of this. We didn't change this value. We didn't change this value. This value is supposed to be ID. Sorry about that. It's supposed to be ID. It is supposed to be ID, not user ID. This value here is supposed to be ID. Now it should work correctly. Wow. That is what we call a logic error. A logic error. They are the most difficult to catch. Okay, so I think now it's good enough. So for Sarah, the candidate ID is 5. Sarah Atieno, 5. You can see it also shows here. Let me just take a screenshot. Okay, so you can see when I point to this, it shows exactly which one. So you can see that the value is 5. So if we come to the candidate table, so this is the candidate table. Whoever has a candidate ID of 5 has a user ID of 4. So if we go to the user table, 4 is indeed Sarah. Is indeed Sarah Chen. Okay, so that is how we retrieve the candidates, and I now kindly ask you to allow me to put the next part, which is now to include the submit button for voting in the next video, so that this one doesn't grow to be too long and boring, and I can also get a cup of coffee and some energy to continue doing this. Otherwise, thank you very much for following along. See you in the next video. Bye bye for now.